when that stadium opens in August.
I am very, very disappointed where we are, but I mean, we can't affect what's happened. That's gone. That's history. I can affect what's coming on. If I'm down, and I think it's harder to affect the players.
It's a nightmare. It doesn't feel real. Doesn't feel real. I felt nauseated, sick all day.
I've seen them relegate maybe 4 or 5 times. I might be wrong about that, but this is the worst. It's because it's that big a game now, isn't it? Sky's mature of that, and you're playing for big prizes, aren't you? You know.
It's just deja vu. We've all been here before, and you know, how long do we have to put up with it for?
With only one more game to play, Sunderland were 4th from bottom in the Premier League. As the players arrived for their last training session, they knew that if they could win their final match away to Wimbledon, they would be sure to escape the indignity of relegation.
Have to stand up and be counted. That's the big thing now. The atmosphere is quite good. It's not tense. Training's quite good. I think that's a telltale sign. If everybody was at one another's throats and kicking each other and blaming each other for things, then we'd have a problem.
10 yards, John Owen, this way. Here you come now, let's go! Good stretching for your balls!
Ah, yes.
Yes!
Oh! You had to say yes then, didn't you?
No one likes to be called and a failure and get relegated, but I won't let it get me down or injure my health. I'll be extremely disappointed because I love winning. But you know that from being with us. But I'm not going to like commit suicide or, you know, go in deep depression because it ain't worth it.
But does effectively the buck stop with you though?
Yeah,
you have to accept
listen,
if it happens.
It's my fault. Oh, of course, of course. But there's always got to be winners and losers, and the winners are. Hey, I was top man last year. You know, pats on the back, and I loved it. Great. So I got to accept what comes with if we go down. But I think we'll stay up and positive about it.
How have the results gone this week? I haven't heard them.
Not so good. Never went nowhere. But hopefully, if we win the match and everything will be all right. I think some of them will drop points. Hopefully, we're in.
It's frustrating now, though, isn't it, when it's down to what other people do rather than.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Well, I suppose it's got to be. But I suppose if we win and we're still in the 4th place, we might, you know. I've never really worked it out. I cannot, to be honest. I'm just hoping that we're going to win and that'll be it.
The local paper said last night that we've had 104 Premier League games since 1984. And we've never won 2 in a row.
Things change, though.
Records are there to be broken.
Even if they were to draw, Sunderland would still stay up. And so 13,000 fans made the 250-mile journey to cheer on the team for the last time.
Subs today, Woodsy, Alex, Alan Johnson, Craig, Russell, Mickey Bridges. Come on, hey, boys. Come on. The right fucking go, eh? Come on! Positive from the fucking off, eh? We've been bright and bubbly the last few days. Let's keep it out on there today, eh?
Whatever happens, we fucking stick together out there, hey? Fucking get each other out of shit if we have to. Fucking look after each other like we have done for 2 fucking years.
Hey, listen, all season, top class. Hey, we all know how big the game is. We'll go out and play a game. I think it's going to be a second bowler because of the conditions. But all I'd say is that when balls bounce and drop, be aware at the back because you just do come. So concentrate all the time. Win second balls. Dead balls are going to be important. If we're alive, defending, let's do it right. And I'm sure we'll score an attack. Hey, go out and play. All the best. All the best. Boys. Fucking get into them.
Come on, let's make sure in the fucking Premier League, eh?
Come on, boys. Get numbers.
Although they lost, Sunderland still had one last chance. Coventry, another potential relegation team, were beating Spurs 2-1. But if that match ended in a draw, Coventry would go down and Sunderland would stay up. However, that match still had 15 agonising minutes left to play.
Leeds 1, Middlesbrough 1. Not enough for Middlesbrough. They are relegated along with Nottingham Forest. Wimbledon beat Sunderland 1-0, so Sunderland at the moment are waiting desperately to know exactly if that means that they too will be relegated, and it all depends on this result here. Should Tottenham get an equaliser, Sunderland stay up. If it stays as it is, Coventry yet again have survived by the skin of their teeth on the last day of the season.
There was nothing left to do but pray.
Seconds, Spurs can get an equaliser. That would keep Sunderland up. It's a corner, which Fox will now take. Drives it across. Everyone rises. Ogrizovic again makes a marvellous save from the header. And there goes the whistle. Coventry, would you believe it? The great survivors have done it again. The great survivors have done it again. Coventry City stay up. Sunderland are relegated.
Well, Peter Reid, it's must be one of the most disappointing moments of your career, really.
Well, not one of the best days, but it's over the 38 games, and the points show you that we haven't been good enough. Obviously, extremely disappointed for the supporters who were top class, but I've got a lot of lads who've got real disappointed in there. But that's football. We need to get ourselves up and go for the next year.
I know it's a bad time to ask this question, but what does this mean now to Sunderland, Peter? Going into a new stadium, obviously, but unfortunately in the lower division.
Well, I mean, it feels like the end of the world, but I don't think it is. You've just got to get yourselves up, and it's going to be a hard league in the first division nationwide next year. I'm disappointed to be in it, but we've got to get on with it. That's football.
And Peter Reid prepared to take on the challenge?
Well, if they'll have me, I'll stay, yeah.
Thanks very much, Peter. Thank you.
Right, quick one for Sky. Well,
I thought we were going to win. I did think we were going to win.
We were relying too much on other teams like Coventry, Middlesbrough to lose and like stay up by default, really. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, we didn't deserve to stay up.
You just think of all the games that you should have won, and you do get angry. And of course the humiliation comes when you have to face everybody the next day. I mean, me, my dad and the house, both Sunderland supporters, we didn't have anyone to face. But the next day when you go back to school, you've got to face everyone. So that's when the humiliation starts.
It really is a cruel game. But it's not what other people do, it's what you do yourself, and that's it. But it's very disappointing. I feel so sorry for all the fans, you know. It's very sad. And it's easy to say, well, it's only a game of football, or it's only a game, but as you well know, there's nothing like it. It will affect people. You know, imagine the whole of the city this morning will be, you know, everywhere, all the factories, workplaces, everybody will be down. There's no question about that.
We're angry at the minute, we're all angry. And devastated for the club going in a new stadium. I think it's a disaster. It shouldn't have been. I mean, we'll way up the league. I just don't know what went wrong. I mean, I was here on Saturday and the lads were training here, and, you know, you said, hey, these fellas are not going to get beat. The way they were training, they were happy as sandboys, they were into it, and they were, you know, you wouldn't think that a game the next year. They were tremendous. They even went and played in tennis, Quinny, after it. And I mean, he's got a bad knee, he's still injured, but they were that king, you know. You couldn't get them off the pitch. It's I just can't understand it, really. I just don't know.
It's not a matter of it all going wrong. I think we all knew at the beginning of the season, Peter Reid had come in, he'd done a good job saving us from relegation to the second division, and then in the following season, he's utilised the players that he's had into a workmanlike team that work for each other, team spirit. But when you're playing in the Premiership, that's why it's called the Premiership, because it's the elite. It's not workmanship players.
I think Peter Reid's got a lot to answer for, and I think Sunderland Football Club, the way they've handled this season, has been an absolute disgrace.
I've got another 2 years in my contract left, and I'd like to see him through. I feel comfortable with the football club, but I know we've got to try and get back into the big league, and it'll be a real important one for us next year. But I'm quite happy here. Obviously, I'm ever so disappointed and sick for the supporters who were magnificent. I mean, Saturday they were frightening. Sunday, sorry. But like I said before, it's happened, and we just got to get on with it. But ultimately, it is down to me.
It hurts. It's the third time it's happened to me. It was a hat-trick I didn't want, and it was horrible. On the way home from the game, I remember sitting at the back of the bus. You know, the lads absolutely devastated, like, and I remember sitting at the back and slowly but surely getting absolutely drunk as a skunk, because that was the only way at the time I thought, I've got to try and obliterate it out of my mind. And I think I was chucking up in the toilet at the end. I still ain't rang Larry to apologise yet, like, you know. And Gordon said to Scotty, oh, you better take him home when we got here. And Scotty, and I remember Scotty sorted this out brilliantly, got us home, got indoors, and I sat on the kitchen floor sitting with my wife, and I was just sat on the floor going, why did it have to happen again like that?
After 99 years, this was not how anyone wanted to leave Roker Park. As Sunderland's league position had fallen, so had their share price. It was now less than half of what it had been at the beginning of the year, and so the board was summoned to the City of London to face their investors.
If you get relegated, you know you've got a lot of issues to face up. I mean, it wasn't something that we were looking forward to. We weren't rubbing our hands at going to London for 2 days. Meeting people that had made a financial loss and had invested in you, believed in you, other words, and we haven't done it for them. I feel really terrible. A point that's often missed is, under our sad circumstances, there's been nobody jumping ship. None of our players, our wanted players, have left the club. So we've got last year's Premiership squad, plus 4 and hopefully 6 players to add to that. So we hope for a very good season on the field. We'll take any questions, please.
Are you concerned about the performance of your share price since the flotation?
It's been disappointing that the share price has gone down. But having said that, relegation was bound to have an impact. You know, the earning potential as a first division club is not as great. It was expected. We would hope that as this season progresses, and we show that our longer term strategy is correct, that the share price will react accordingly.
I seem to recall at the time of flotation you saying that not only had you factored in relegation, but if there was relegation, the bottom line, if anything, would benefit rather than be adversely affected.
I don't think we've ever said that.
I seem to recall that.
All I can say is I'd have to disagree with you, because I don't think we've ever given any indication. We said that certain aspects of our income line would not be severely affected by relegation, and we still believe that's the case.
It's not a disaster scenario, but we need to get in the Premier League and never get relegated again, and to win things and to be in Europe. That's where our business needs to go. If you look at what the last few months has meant to us, is a lot of lost sleep, a lot of frustration. We're not pointing our finger at anybody. I mean, I couldn't say that the players have let us down or the managers let us down, but we feel that we've done everything that was necessary.
And so, in terms of you personally, how much of a financial loss is that in terms of your shares?
Paper loss is £10 million. That's the paper loss. Well, it's also pride as well. I think it's pride more than anything. I mean, all we needed to do was stay up.
In previous seasons, 40 points would have been enough to keep a team in the Premier League. However, Sunderland fans were more concerned with the fact that this season's top scorer could only boast 4 goals. With Peter away on holiday, it was left to the board to face the supporters' inquisition.
I wanted to get the club's view about what are the other good, strong points, if any, out of the 96 season, and what are the bad points, which are fairly obvious. What's the club think of this season?
Well, for a start, we don't exactly feel happy this week. This has been one of the worst weeks of my life. Bob and I have been down to the city for the last 2 days, and it hasn't been easy trying to motivate people when deep down, you know, as a true supporter, you feel like shit, and that's the top and bottom of it. You know, we've tried desperately to get players in, right from day one. Is it worth mentioning names, Bob?
Well, there's no loss in it, so we can.
I mean, we tried from early part of the season to try and get Scholes out of Manchester United, time and time again. Just they would not budge. We were 24 hours away from signing Lee Clark from Newcastle. If Kevin Keegan hadn't departed as he'd done, or as he did, we would probably got him in. So you know, we made an offer for Paul Gascoigne. We also asked about Andy Cole.
What the fans are disputing is he's saying the people who I wanted weren't available. The fans would love to know who the people... I mean, you've just sat and told us.
But Pete's got a relationship with all the managers. You know, like he's got a relationship with Alex Ferguson. He won't go out and unsettle his players. Or next time, you won't speak to him on the phone.
what has been running, a current that's been running throughout the season, as you'll note from the letters in the local papers, as to our wage level, as to whether that's a guiding factor.
Well, couldn't we prepare to pay Gascoigne 28 grand a week?
So
four and a quarter million.
Categorically state that has not been an issue. No. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as an individual, it's down to the manager.
Well, we'll keep going to find a reason that they can live with, won't we?
And unfortunately, this hasn't come across to the supporters, accepting these facts, these top players in the frame. The supporters feel like we've took a view that the club's been okay, we'll just get by, don't need to do anything else, we'll coast in and then it'll be okay next season. That's how it feels. And feels like we've concentrated on getting the ground right, getting the infrastructure right, that launches you forward. But we've missed something. We bought the shirts, we bought the bricks, we've shouted as loud as we can, and we need something to hang on to.
We just feel that we've done everything. We've delivered, and we've got an enormous sense of loss this week. Enormous. I want to know how Coventry survived for 29 years, and they've got different managers, different chairmen, different players. They've survived 29 years. This club has not finished in the top half of the First Division for 42 years.
Well, that's right.
And that pisses me off. And I've had enough. I tell you, we've had a bad week. It'd have to go cap in hand at the City, which the supporters don't have to do. Don't forget, we don't get paid neither.
Well, we don't get paid for following the club either, you know, and we've spent a lot of money travelling about. I mean, when you get 42-year-old, 45-year-old people on a train travelling back from London and they're in tears, every one of them, you know, and that's how we feel. And I'm not disputing the fact. I mean, I know you do. I know that. I've known you long enough. I know how you feel about the club, but it doesn't make it any easier whatsoever.
We done the same 1991. We went up. We spent no money or very little money. We were relegated. We were told the lessons are being learned. It wouldn't happen again. Perhaps there were circumstances then for the reasons that happened, but not this time. That the board give the manager his full back and that the manager had millions to spend. And then we find ourselves now, 12th of May, relegated to Division 1. We're a brand new stadium that's going to be the biggest white elephant in the country.
Already thousands of disillusioned fans had cancelled their £25 deposit for a season ticket, and the club's new campaign slogan was beginning to seem a little optimistic. Although it was far from finished, in a desperate attempt to woo supporters, the club offered a guided tour of the stadium every weekend throughout June and July.
Feel free to ask any questions you like.
No one could quite believe that this was now a First Division ground, a 42,000-seater stadium in a league where clubs were lucky to get crowds of half that size. Only a few months earlier, Bob Murray had dreamed of selling out on season tickets alone, just like at Man United or Middlesbrough, but now that wasn't to be.
The entrance you came through is properly referred to as a vomitory. There you go, a vomitory, if you want to impress your family and friends. Any questions so far? Oh, good. Don't think I know the answers to it. Incidentally, it's from the Latin vomitoria, which was an entrance to a Roman amphitheatre.
Relegation had also meant that no big companies wanted to give their name to the stadium. This meant that the club lost out on millions of pounds worth of sponsorship money.
This will be the best ground in the country when it opens. It won't be the biggest, but it'll be the best. The pitch is actually dead clever. There's undersoil heating in place. Works thermostatically. But the really clever bit is that it's computerised and it can actually ring the groundsman at home. It's hard lines on the poor groundsman, of course, but when we're in Europe and this is full, week in, week out, there'll be a small price to pay. Not too distant future at all. No problem in that camp. Any questions yet?
Their first match was to be an extravaganza against the Dutch team Ajax. But the day before the game, the stadium was looking far from spectacular.
The last couple of days, they've been, obviously, I've had a checklist, and as things have been done, they've been knocking the various things off. And there's a meeting, I think it's early afternoon, where they'll hopefully sign everything off, and everything's go for tomorrow night. So it's exciting.
It's amazing.
I mean, we always knew it would go to the wire, but it's...
Before the game could go ahead, the club still needed a safety certificate from Sunderland City Council.
David, how are you doing? How are we doing, mate? I don't know, you tell me. Did you speak to the man from the Environmental Health?
Yes, he's coming in about 11 o'clock.
And is there any problem with that?
No, that was it.
From the Environmental Health Department, so we're just checking out numbers of toilets. I mean, we've seen the plans for a long time. We just generally have a look at the condition of them, make sure there's nothing particularly hazardous. With the kiosks, I've got a colleague coming, but we're having a look into those at the moment, see if the power's on, which it isn't. So we can't see, where the lighting's rigged up or whether it isn't rigged up. Hot and cold water, obviously, where there's food concerned. It's got to be right.
Finishing building the stadium was not the only problem. The match was a sellout, but there was chaos over at the new ticket office.
I paid for my seats on the 4th of July, and I discovered this morning that they're sold. So you really shouldn't be talking to me, because I'm a very unhappy lady.
Paid for me Ajax tickets, and I've got a receipt, and they said I would receive them by Tuesday at the latest, and I'm still waiting for them. So I'm obviously just come down to see if I can get the tickets. I've paid for 3 tickets, and hopefully I can get them. I mean, obviously it looks like it's gross incompetence on the club's behalf, and they've underestimated the job, that's what I think.
There's absolutely no way that I can reprint those tickets for you because they've now been generically sold. I can offer you a Premier Concourse seat. A seat in the Premier Concourse. Somebody else must have got your seat. I'll put it up on the computer. That ticket isn't coming up on this. So somebody must have told us. You know?
Dreadfully pissed off, to be honest. It's like months and months of preparing it, and we don't know why, and at the minute we're trying to react to something. But at the minute, it's obviously going wrong. Everything we've set up in place the last 7 or 8 months, whether tickets got lost in the post, whether there's gremlins in the system, whatever.
David, you've asked me this 3 times, and I said I can't tell you because it's still going on. Right? But it could well be a couple of thousand. It is no more than 6,000. It is no more than 6,000 because 6,000 were posted.
We're trying our best, we're working as hard as possible.
Internally, everything's worked, it's been fine. And there's this glitch, and we haven't got a clue why. We're firefighting, that's the last thing we wanted to do.
I'll see if there's anybody around. Yeah.
If we could say, oh, right, now we see what's gone wrong, this is nothing. People won't believe that, quite rightly. People won't believe it to say, oh, the club's got it wrong.
We always said that this was a trial run. Ajax is the one. It's a great event, but it's when we've got to get a lot of the gremlins out. There will not, from a ticketing side, there'll not be another Ajax, but from the point of view of other aspects of it, whether it's the security and everything else, it's a good trial run.
As the ticket queues continued to grow, and with less than 24 hours to kick off, there was doubt about whether or not the game would go ahead. The men from the council were unhappy with what they'd seen.
I deal with facts. The facts of the matter are we haven't got a safety certificate as I stand here. When I get a safety certificate, then I can say the game will go ahead. Yeah? I stick to facts.
So
you asked me a question, I'm talking to you. If someone walked through that door, my only attitude is, we kick off tomorrow, there's no other option.
I can't believe what chaos there is out there, though, today. It's just incredible.
It's a matter of, you see chaos, I see progress. Yeah? You see problems, I see solutions.
An emergency meeting was called at the City Hall to assess the problem.
I've got great confidence in the progress that's been made because of what I've seen in 3 days.
I'm sure Mr. Ficklin will come in, perhaps, if you ask him. From myself or Dave Nicholson's point of view, stadium manager, safety officer, we would not contemplate running anything which is against our safety policy for spectators at all.
We've identified the areas of concern, and we now know exactly what's got to be achieved, and we have given the safety committee the assurances that those items will be achieved by midday tomorrow.
But what if they're not?
Well, they've got to be, haven't they?
Quite magnificent, isn't it?
With just over 12 hours to go, there was still one more thing to do. Announce the name of Sunderland Football Club's new home. On the stroke of midnight, Bob and John called a press conference.
The name has evolved over a period of time, and it's a result of ideas and inspirations from a wide range of sources, not any single individual. The name of the stadium is a milestone in the history of Sunderland, an event which only takes place once every 100 years.
The Sunderland Stadium reflects the desire of the club and its supporters to be in the limelight, and like a torch signifies and illuminates the way forward. The name, like the stadium, will radiate like a beacon to the football world.
Sunderland FC proudly announce at midnight the name of their magnificent new stadium, and that is the Sunderland Stadium of Light. Thank you.
Close a toast. Can we just toast everybody? Sunderland Stadium of Light. Cheers.
Outside, the new name didn't get such a brilliant reception.
I believe you've heard the name, but you just want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Like it, John. I'm getting the horse.
Just give me 2 minutes, right?
Why should?
Well, I would appreciate it if you did, okay? I'll listen to you if you just listen to me. 2 minutes, right? Well, obviously, it's a very emotional situation that everyone's got their own views as to what they would like to name the stadium and what they wouldn't like to name the stadium. We've thought about it for a long, long time, right? We've thought about it for a long, long time. We want a name that will take this club and recognise this stadium not only nationally but internationally, right? Somebody else's name. And we've taken the views of a lot of people, and at the end of the day, the intention is to flood the stadium inside and out every night during the hours of darkness. And that's why the name Sunderland Stadium of Light has been chosen.
How many people voted on that?
That's it.
How many people voted on that?
It wasn't a case of voting. That's what we've decided.
At 12 o'clock on the opening day, the safety committee returned to the stadium to give their final decision.
When the licensing subcommittee considered the safety of the ground yesterday, they were generally satisfied subject to completion of a number of outstanding items. I'm fully satisfied with the club has now dealt with the outstanding items and that tonight's game will go ahead. And I'm pleased to have the opportunity to wish the club very successful in their Stadium of Light, both tonight and in the future. Thank you.
After a little over a year of building and preparation, The club had made it, but just in time. Seats were still being numbered as the crowds began to arrive.
Come and get your programme. It's only $2.50 a programme. Game gets boring, you can always read a programme.
Mr. Stephen Newell. From the NEP group, Mr. Nigel Wilson. My lords, my Lord Bishop, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, would you please pray silence for the chairman of Sunderland Football Club, Mr. Bob Murray.
Good evening, everybody. I have the honour of welcoming you all tonight on behalf of the club, and thank you for attending this historic occasions. Without a lot of people in this room, this would never have happened.
As Bob was having his moment of glory with the great and good of Sunderland, in other parts of the ground chaos reigned. To add to the computer problems, a whole row of seats had been numbered incorrectly, which meant that nearly 2,000 people couldn't find where to sit.
There's your seat number on the back, 46. Look on the side.
The person's just numbered the seats wrong, that's all. So it's just a cock-up, basically. But you're offering them other seats, but they won't sit in them. That's it.
If Bob Murray had any sense, he would actually turn around and get the heads, the staff in to one thing and get it all sorted out, because it is a damn disgrace. They just don't know where they're going, they kind of sort nothing out. It's a damn disgrace.
So if you haven't got a seat, remain standing and a steward will escort you to one.
Quarter hour before kick-off, they locked the doors. Double booked seats. And I've just heard they've delayed the kick-off again because there's that many people sitting in the wrong seats. The spirit of blight. Not the spirit of light. Stadium of blight.
Bless all who play here, those who support them, and those who manage the affairs of Sunderland Football Club. Through their desire for winning, may they see the greatest victory of all, and the goal, which is Christ, the Saviour of the world. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be amongst you all this night and well into the future.
Although there was a terrific party atmosphere, it was not the most dignified of opening nights. With the relationship between the supporters and the club at an all-time low, it remained to be seen whether the new stadium would do anything to heal the bitter wounds of relegation.
I'm not buying a season ticket. I just feel as though I've been, not just me, all the fans have been kicked in the teeth again. Absolutely. Why should I buy a season? Why should I put my money in front? I can go and just, if I don't want to go, I don't have to go. If I want to go and pick a game, I can go and pick a game. There's plenty of seats to choose from.
A true Sunderland supporter's not going to desert their team. I reckon when it comes down to it, that the fans are saying, oh no, we're not going to buy season tickets. But can they cope without coming to watch their team every Saturday?
Late November 1997, this was the cold reality. A First Division match at the Stadium of Light against Tranmere Rovers. After a poor start to the season, Sunderland were now undefeated in 8 games and were slowly beginning to move up the league.
It's a 4-inch wheel on this one. It's a Dimplex Martin, a new one. The other one was getting worn out and rattling about a bit, so we've got this nice, it's a good one, this one, first class.
We'll win hands down today. The lads has been really up for this match.
We're 8 undefeated, and I just feel that we're improving and we're getting there. There's a lot of young players here. Still need to improve, but I'm pleased at the moment. It's a tough league, and there's the Notts Forest, the Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, you know, Charlton are a good side. There's about 10 sides who can do it, and I'd like to think we're in that category.
How important is it to the business to go back up?
Well, in the long term, it's essential. I mean, we've based the whole structure on a Premier League basis. I mean, if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have built a stadium of this size and of this quality. You know, it's not a total disaster in the short term, but clearly we've got to get back into the Premier League as soon as we can.
As for the supporters, well, they seem to have short memories. Since the beginning of the season, crowds had been steadily growing to gates of over 30,000 people. That's bigger than most Premier League clubs. Long gone were the jokes about white elephants. Bob Murray's Stadium of Light was a resounding success.
I don't think any of us are over what happened at the end of last season. I think we've got it all to do yet, and none of us will rest until we're back in the Premiership.
Did it take you a long time to get over that?
I'm not over it. There's only one place to be, and that's in the Premiership.
So how's it been going back to kind of First Division clubs?
Well, they're super people. I mean, we're very pro-football in general, and we always make people very hospitable here, and Sunderland's a very well-liked club throughout football, but it is difficult going to some of these clubs with the tremendous following that we have and everything. But we'll do it until we succeed. This year we're pulling up trees financially at the stadium. We've seen money we've never seen before. But obviously the uplift that would have been there had we retained our status would have been massive. But we have this to walk into next time that we go in the Premiership. We have the stage to play on and the facilities to take the income that's necessary to make sure that someone will never ever get relegated again.
With their recent run of success, Sunderland were already being tipped for promotion straight back into the Premier League.
Go and enjoy it, go and enjoy it.
A new season had brought new faces to the team. The arrival of Lee Clark from Newcastle and Kevin Phillips from Watford had produced a string of goals and brought a new confidence to the team.
was 3. Get in there. That makes the day, doesn't it? Brilliant. 4-0, I was 1 out. I was very satisfied. Very good. Smashing.